right, hi guys. I have with me the new iMac 24-inch. So it's been 23 years since the first iMac, and I've been a technology journalist for 25 years, so I actually remember when the first colorful ones were introduced, and they really created a big splash by breaking out of the beige boxes that computers used to be. So now we have the new generation of iMacs. They've been completely redesigned with a new look, new processor, and more. This one starts at $1899, so the question is it worth the money? All right, so let's peel off this screen here and say hello to the new iMac. As you can see, I've got the purple one. I'll just give you a full view here. So what you'll find is that the color is sort of more intense on the back, and this is with all of the 7 colors that it comes in. And then there's like a lighter grade of it on the bottom of the iMac here. In terms of the design, you have pretty much a dramatically different iMac. So the first thing that really struck me was that it's just 11.5 millimeters thick. So what they've done is, compared to the older models, which kind of bubble out at the back and have thinner edges, they've made this one consistent thickness across. And they can do that because of the new M1 chip that is inside it. Basically, the whole computer itself is just along here. It's just situated in here, and it consists of the chip, speakers, a couple of fans, memory architecture, circuit board, and all that kind of stuff. What that's also allowed them to do is, compared to the previous 21.5-inch iMac, which was the entry-level model that this is compared to, you're getting a 24-inch screen fit in here. So overall, you got 30% less footprint than the previous iMacs and 50% less overall volume, according to Apple. So it stands about 45 centimeters high, 55 centimeters wide. The depth here is about 15 centimeters, so you can really fit it into those sort of tighter spaces. And it weighs about 4.5 kilograms, so you can tuck it under your arm and take it from room to room. And the whole idea here is really to make it something that you can put in any room in your house. So I really like the practicality. And also with the hinge system, you can just kind of flex it. It's really solid, really robust. Everything is made of high quality aluminum, so it feels like quality too, and really something that you wouldn't want to sort of hide away. So it's good design. So this is really cool too. Depending on which iMac you buy, you get a keyboard where the aluminum bits match the color of your actual computer. The same with the Magic trackpad and Magic mouse as well. So anything that's basically aluminium now has this nice anodized color, and I think it looks really good. In terms of the keyboard too, there's some changes here. There's 3 different models to choose from, obviously color matched. One model has the new Touch ID sensor, which you can tap here with, get your fingerprint scanning basically for unlocking things like Apple payments or passwords. There's another one without this keyboard, which comes on the entry-level model. This is one model up from entry-level, and then you can actually opt for the one with the numerical keypad if you're really into typing in numbers, or you're an accountant or something like that. So you have a few choices. The Magic Mouse comes with all of the boxes, all packages, but you can opt for this instead, or you can actually have both the mouse and trackpad and keyboard included in the package like this one did. Look, there's some really clever design features, and I'll just go through a few of them. With the power brick, it's got a power connector, but also there is a gigabit Ethernet connector here too. Plug it into the wall. This power brick probably sits under your desk somewhere, and then the internet cable from the wall plugs into this, rather than having to come up on the desk and into the back of the computer. So it's a really great way of just keeping your cables tidy. So you really only ever need one cable plugged into the back, which is the power cable, which is my second point. There's this really nice braided, color matched sort of purple cable here for power, and it has a magnet on it, which makes it really easy to plug in. So you basically just have to get it close, and it just kind of clicks in with a satisfying click. It's also really nicely designed. You do get another matching Lightning to USB-C cable, which you can plug into the back to charge your devices, as well as your iPhone, keyboard, mouse, and all that kind of stuff. And in terms of plugging in your old school headphones, there is a 3.5mm jack, which is on the very edge here, just about right there, so you can plug that in if you want to, and it's kind of in a spot that isn't around at the back of the machine, so you don't have to reach around to do that. And with the keyboard, there's some new keys too. There's a Do Not Disturb key, there's a Spotlight, which is a search key, there's a lock key, and there's even a dictation key, so you just press those and you get those direct functions, which I think is a cool idea. Okay, some not so great things are, first off, that gigabit Ethernet on the power block connector. You don't get this on the entry-level model. So in order to get gigabit Ethernet, you're gonna have to plug in an adapter to the back and plug the cable in there. So keep that in mind. Also, on the entry level, you only have a choice of 4 colors. You don't get the 7 color choice. So if some of the other colors really matter, you're actually gonna have to spend more. If you do want and love these color matched accessories like the keyboards, you actually have to have the corresponding iMac in order to order more. You can't just buy these and choose a color and mix and match them. You have to actually provide your serial number to get these because they're locked to the iMacs themselves. So what you see here is the beautiful 24-inch screen in action. So this is a whole new screen. It supports 11.3 million pixels. It does 218 pixels per inch. So what that essentially says is it's 4.5K. That means super crisp and sharp text. Amazing, really. I'm so impressed with this. It also has a P3 color gamut. That's basically a very wide color gamut or palette. Great for watching movies. If you're a content creator and you're using, whether it's Photoshop or After Effects or any sort of video production, that means that you have a lot of colors to work with. It'll support high dynamic range as well. It's a true tone screen, meaning that it will auto adjust itself depending on the color temperature. So if you're indoors under a certain type of light, it will warm up the screen or it'll cool down the screen depending on the type of lighting conditions. In terms of brightness, this is a 500 nits panel, meaning that it's pretty bright for indoors. It can punch through, like reflections, for example. So if you've got some windows around, it's bright enough to kind of overshadow those. There is an anti-reflective coating, but it does still pick up the odd reflection, but nothing too bad. And lastly, the bezel size has been reduced by 50% compared to the previous iMacs, which means that you get more screen size, and that's why you get this 24-inch screen in the same size of device as a 21.5-inch screen that you got for the previous model. Also improved is the HD camera. This is now a 1080p camera, so you get full HD resolution. So what it does is it taps into the M1 chip to fix up how the image quality looks. So for example, if you're in a backlit situation, it will use computational video to fix up the image, to pull up the shadows, to balance things out, to make you look better. So in conjunction with the camera, we have better mics too. This is a 3-mic array, which is apparently studio quality. It also takes advantage of computational sort of adjustments to fix it up. There's beamforming technology, which really helps focus the mics on your voice and cancel out background sound. So if you're in that really busy home, you're trying to do a video conference, it actually can help tune out the noise going on around you, the kids screaming, whatever it is, to really help improve it. Here's an example of how the new HD camera and 3-mic studio mic setup actually sounds and looks. We're using the same lighting as we were for shooting this video, but James, I might get you to just turn off 1 or 2 of those lights and see how this computational video adjustments work. There we go. Yeah, you can see that it actually compensates and it brings up the light. You may not have noticed, but we just shut off both studio lights and we're still getting a similar light level to what we did when the light levels were on. The new iMac 24 has better speakers as well. So there are 6 speakers now sort of built into this bottom lip. 2 pairs of woofers, as well as a tweeter that goes along with each pair. I tried it out, basically. I watched a bit of a movie.
The can is opening, this is our chance! All firepower on those speeders. Concentrate!
Like the bass isn't super, pumping, it's not going to shake the room, but the volume is really high and it is quite nicely balanced. So you can put this into your living room, for example, and use it to play music. So look, I was really impressed with the speakers, and that means you can use it as a good audio player or watching some good movies. So how does it perform? Well, this iMac uses a new generation of chips made by Apple. The older iMacs used to use Intel chips, but now we have the Apple M1 chip, and this is debuted already in the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. Now this is an entry-level chip meant to compete against the entry-level processors by Intel, but the performance has been so groundbreaking that it's actually outcompeting top-of-the-end laptops. It does a lot of work without using a lot of energy, and therefore doesn't create a lot of heat. Some of the demos that we saw included opening up 5 simultaneous 4K video streams and then edit that down into one with perfect seamless playback. Browsers open up lightning quickly, apps launch very fast, so you really feel like this is a very, very responsive machine. It has an SSD drive too, so that solid-state drive is really feeding information quickly to the M1 processor. This can handle pretty much anything the kids want to do. They want to make movies. If you are a content creator, you'll be absolutely fine on this for most tasks, even some pretty high-end 4K editing. For coding and compiling, it's also very efficient. Basically, there's 2 flavors of M1. This one has the 8-core CPU as well as 8-core GPU and 16-core neural processor. You can also get one that only has 7 GPU cores, which is a little bit less, but I mean, I don't know if the difference is really that easy to perceive. This model here comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM. You can get 16 gigabytes of RAM as well, but that's as high as you can go, which, considering this is really an entry-level computer, I don't think you need to go a lot more than that. Bear in mind, however, that everything is soldered onto this circuit board down here, so once you choose your spec, you are not going to be able to upgrade, you're not going to be able to tweak things. The same thing goes with storage, so this one comes with 512, the entry-level one starts at 256, and then you can spec it out to up to 2 terabytes if you want to. Okay, so in terms of the connections for getting stuff in and out of this device, it has the latest Wi-Fi 6 compatibility, meaning that it can really transfer Wi-Fi very quickly across Wi-Fi 6 networks, but it also downgrades back to 802.11 AC and earlier ones. It has the latest Bluetooth 5.0, which is great for transferring music from Bluetooth headphones, very quick connections. With this particular model, there are 4 connections here. So these are USB-C type connectors, so the smaller, more compact ones, and 2 of them are Thunderbolt 3, which means that they are able to transfer up to 40 gigabits per second of data. Also keep in mind that if you buy the entry-level version of this, you only get the 2 Thunderbolt ports. You don't get the other 2, so you only get 2 ports. And I guess the downside is that on both this one and the entry-level one is that you have to use adapters if you want to plug in HDMI or VGA, or you may have to use some dongles for some of the things that you already have sitting around the house, like the standard USB-A or the sort of single-sided USB connector that a lot of older devices use. So yeah, so good connectivity. Otherwise, hopefully you can use wireless to stop from having to plug things into the bag. Right, so in terms of pricing, in Australia there are 3 tiers. There's an entry, mid, and upper end tier. This is for the 24-inch iMac, so you start off with the entry level at $18.99. Keep in mind that it only gets 7 rather than 8 GPU cores in the M1 processor, so a little slower. Also, you get just 2 rather than 4 USB-C ports, just the 2 Thunderbolts. You don't have the gigabit Ethernet on the power block, so there's some things to keep in mind there. Moving up to $21.99, with this you get the 4 USB ports, you get the 7 colors, and you get the gigabit Ethernet. In terms of storage size, you get 256 gigabits on both on both this one and the entry level, but if you move up to the $24.99 model, that one has 512, but pretty similar specs. If you want to increase the hard drive storage size from 512 or 256, you add $300, and then you add another $600 to go from 512 to 1 terabyte, and then $900 to go up to 2 terabytes. So pretty expensive in terms of internal storage, but you can always plug in very fast external drives via the USB-C ports. So yeah, that's the Australian pricing. You can check all of that out on Apple's website just to be sure. So what do I think of the new iMac 24-inch? Well, look, I genuinely think that Apple has done a great job with redesigning this machine and bringing it up to spec. It's something now that you'd be happy to take out of the study or the home office and put it into other rooms in the house because, it looks great. You've got a design here that, matches your decor, and the color-coded accessories are really quite nice as well. But more importantly, they've really upped the technology. I mean, the M1 processor is proven. It is a great, great chip, very powerful, very power efficient, very quiet. And I think that for a lot of people, it's far more than what they would need for most day-to-day tasks. And I'm really impressed with that. But also they've kind of upped their game in terms of this post-COVID world. We've got a great HD camera. We've got great microphones that cancel noise around you. So, if the kids are doing distant learning, or if you're doing, video conferencing at home, it's a really good practical device for doing that as well. The speakers are great for listening to music as well as, watching movies around the house. And ultimately, it's a good compact shape, and the screen is just such great quality too that you're really not going to want for anything in terms of looking at it. Look, pricing wise, because the M1 chip kind of takes an entry-level computer and puts it against more powerful mid to higher end level machines, I think this M1 is a great prospect. So at $1899, you're actually getting a more advanced machine than it's positioned for. So you're getting more bang for your buck than Apple usually offers, because Apple is known to be expensive, but now I think you're getting a lot more value in these devices. So look, you can buy one now, hop into an Apple store, check them out, see what color you like. But yeah, look, I think this is a great device and a good choice for a lot of families.